Hi, and welcome to modeling course on how to use a single object to reproduce a complex object. And today we're going to be creating a hotel. So we're starting here with a polygon cube. I'll just click that up. And this is going to be the base of our hotel. So I'm going to scale this up a bit and then scale it out. So I have kind of a shoebox shape. Many people have stayed in the shoebox hotel. And take it to the end of the grid there. All right, so now that I have my first shape, like I said, this will be the body of the hotel. So now what we're going to do is use the same piece of geometry. I'm going to hit Control D. Oops, sorry. Control D. And create another one. And then I'm going to scale it down. And we're going to use this shape as our window shape. Bring it out here where I can see it. Scale it down. We want it long like that. We want it to have a bit of depth because we're not going to cut holes in the shape for the window. We're just going to apply this one to the outside of it. Now, I find it very helpful actually to have, I only have um, one division in this, and I find it very helpful to have multiple. If you want multiple divisions on your object, you can go into the attribute editor and set that up. Let's do, say, like 6 in the height. If I type in 6 here, 6 here, that's too many. How about 3 there? And 6 here. These are, oops, nope, that's too many there. We only need 1 there. Maybe 2. All right, we'll go with 2. And then 6 here. There we go. And I don't really need these. If I were extruding or constructing right from this object, I could use these, but what I'm going to use these for is just a guide as to where to put these windows in the on the hotel. So I am, and it's perfectly divided. I'm going to put the windows in this area here. I can't see what's going on because I don't have wireframe on shaded clicked here in my shading spot. So now when I click off, I can still see those. Great. All right, back to our window. I'll go to a front view. And I know I want my windows to fit between these 2 lines. So I'm going to just take, instead of scaling, I'm going to take the vertexes, the sub-object vertexes, and use those to redo my shape a little bit. When you use scale, let me go back here. When you use scale, it creates offsets in the object's transforms. And you shouldn't have, it's okay to have them here, it's not okay to have them here. So when you use, so here, and I can demonstrate that when I hit scale, here for instance in the X, you can see that it's changing those numbers. If you use sub-objects, like vertexes, it doesn't change those numbers. We're kind of sneaking in under the transforms. Okay. I give it a slight perspective so we can see what's going on. Now, I actually don't need this back panel here. It doesn't matter if we get rid of it or not. Good modeling practices tell me that that polygon's never going to show, and I should get rid of it. That's because I come from a time when polygons were expensive. They're not that expensive anymore, so you don't need to do that. But I have a hard time controlling myself. Okay, so now this is a much more efficient object, now that it's not wasting a polygon that you'll never see. I guess if you have millions, if I had like a whole city full of hotels that all had a polygon on the back of them, that would start to add up. I shouldn't laugh at my practices. I guess they're there for something. All right, so we're going to change this into more of a window shape right now. It's just kind of a box. I'm going to select a face there, come up here and hit the extrude button. Scale this down so I have a bit of a window frame, and my goal is to have the top and the bottom to kind of be the same, so it looks like somebody built it out of wood or something. All right, then I'm going to extrude it again, hit W on my keyboard and push it in, so now I have a bit of a window pane going on. Go back to object mode, select that, and I'm going to have it stick into the building enough where it doesn't, where the building's geometry doesn't come through. So if I'm looking for, if we go to a top view, you can kind of see what's going on. So here's my window. This part here is the part we brought in for the glass. This blue line here is the edge of the hotel. So we want to place this window into the building somewhat, but not enough where the other window is through the wall. So we want this part, which is our window, to be in front of that blue line. So we're going to go somewhere in here, which is why we gave this a bit of thickness. All right, back to perspective mode. Great, so we have our window, and I'm going to move it over here and put it in this box. I'm going to hit Control D. Oops. Did I copy it? No. So then the next thing we need to do is we're going to, before we duplicate this window all over the place, it's a good idea to put a UV map on it. So I'm going to put a UV planar map on it in the Z. And you can see there it's projecting onto the thing. The sides won't be very good. So honestly, we should do this where we select that face and this face and this face and this face and UV and another planar map, but this one from X project. Now I got one going sideways. Now I just need to do tops and bottoms. So this one and this one and this one and this one, and UV map planar in the Y, apply, and it goes down. So now if we were to look at this object in the UV editor, you would see that all the sides are flat. It's hard to tell here, isn't it? So if I grab UV shells and move them out of the way. So there's our front. And this is one of the sides. And oops. And this is one of the sides. So as I grab these, you can kind of see, okay, so that's this one, that's that one. They're all in the middle here. Knock it off. There, get that out of the way. Out of the way. Sometimes it's hard. You have to dig this stuff out. There, there, and then finally, where's our window plane? So there's our window. That's just that glass part. You go UV editor shell, you can grab this stuff. There's our frame around the window. And then all these other ones here are the sides and stuff. So if I grab UV shell again and select that, so these are all the different sides, and we can take all these and make them the same size. There's two here too. They can all live right on top of each other, and that way you're not wasting space in your UV because they all have the same directionality. So for instance, if I were to put a wood texture on there or something, it would show up as wood. And then this one is the window, and then so these two must be the tops and the bottoms, and you as well. Scale that down. You don't have to reset transforms when you're scaling UVs. And if scaling is kind of a pain in the butt, you can always just grab the UVs. They work like vertexes, and you can bring them in. Faces. Rotate that around, and I can actually take this one. Will have the same orientation as that one. I can actually stack this one on top of this, right? Because these ones are the sides here, and these ones are the tops and the bottoms. So if this were a real piece of wood, the wood grain would go this way, and then this way, and then across the front like that. But that means that this one and this one have the exact same, could use the exact same wood grain. So in order to save UV space, I can make that one object. Now this object here and this one here, oops, I missed one. Come here, you. You need to get in with the gang. Everybody's waiting for you. UV. Okay. So now all these would have the same wood texture. It'd be the same picture here, the same picture here, the same picture here, but the front would have a different picture, and the glass would have a different picture, and that's why they're separated out like this. And they would all need to live in one square. So right now, I'm using this big square here to do my layout, and then I just reduce it until they can all fit into one square. So then if I have a texture, I can have the front of the wood frame here texture, the texture for the glass over here, and then the texture for the wood grain over here. And you can see these aren't exactly aligned. It doesn't really matter a whole lot. I could select them all, select UVs, and it does matter sometimes, but not in this particular case. But I can, just like we do in geometry, grab all the UVs and scale them so that they're a perfect match like that. And that will, there's like the 2, 4, 6, 8 different things here. But they're all on top of each other. So this would be the layout for my texture. And I don't have a texture, but if I did, it would have a wood grain going this way for the outer frame, and then for this one, a wood grain going this one, and then this would be a blue piece for the glass. Anyways, we can do that later. We can select those in Engine, whatever we want to do. But our UVs are now set for this piece. And we can start copying it. So I'm going to select this one and hit Control D and create another one. And I want these to be evenly placed. So I'm going to use a window as the placement tool between them. Delete that one. So now I have those two windows with a window's width between them. Window's width might be a little bit much, so I'm going to come back and move this one half as much, like that, I think. Great. And then I'm going to use these and go, boy. Oh, I forgot to name it. Window. Make sure you name these things, it gets confusing. Window 2. Hotel. Great. Okay, so grab these two. Actually, I'm going to grab one. I'm going to make a door now out of this object. So as we can see, here, let me put a material on these so we can see things with laser. They already have UVs, but they don't have materials. So I'm just going to call this window material and make it blue. And I'm going to make this, assign a new material to that, make it red, call it door. Now, if we were to scale this, it would mess up our transform's already messed up. That's not good. Okay, so let's reset the transforms for all these objects. I should have done this straight away, and I did not. I am remiss in my freezing transforms deal. That one. Modify, freeze transform, and the door, which I need to name door. Also want to freeze those transforms. Modify, freeze transforms. Okay, so the door, if I were to scale this door to fit, right? Like take, okay, I want the door there, and it's got to be door sized like this, and I put it down there. Well, what this has done is it scaled my trim. As you can see, these are nice and even, the trim around these things, but now this door has a big fat top and bottom, and the sides are the same. So let's go back to our window shape, and instead of using the scale tool, we're going to go sub-object, grab vertexes, and just drag them down. And you'll notice that this hits a right angle here. When you can see the little blue thing clip through the bottom of the building, that's a good indicator that you're at the bottom. And this is already okay at the top. I want it to be a little wider than it is. I'm going to move this over. And by using sub-objects to expand this object rather than scaling it, I can maintain my geometry sizes a little bit better. All right, so that's a door. Let's quickly create a doorknob. Go back to polygon objects, create a sphere. Come on over here, sphere. And we need to rotate it 90 degrees because I want to use this geometry to, I got really close, didn't I? I want to use this bit of geometry to make the doorknob. So move it away a little bit. I'm going to scale it so it looks like doorknob shape. And then I'm in the hotel. I'll move it out so we can see what we're doing. I'm going to grab this bit here. And then I have to go around and make sure I didn't accidentally grab other bits. So I just want that little circle. Then I'm going to extrude it out, and that's going to be our doorknob. Stop it. Nope, I don't want that. W. There we go. The little part of the handle that connects to the lock. All right, our doorknob is huge. Scale that down. I'm going to grab the universal scale and bring it over, scale it down, and wait for it. There it is. I'm using, you can see here, I'm using the other geometry to tell where I am in depth with this. So it's like easy to move this up and over to here. Kind of big, scale it down a little bit more. Yep. Great, it's still going into the door. Yeah. Great. Okay, new material on that. Brass. And oops, give that a color. Yellow. So we're also going to need a plate for that door. So I'm going to use another one of these windows, or I could use the door, either one. I'm going to use the window because it's already smaller. Although the door is the right shape, and it doesn't matter. Control D, I move the other window over. I'm actually going to scale this one because I want all the bits to reduce at the same rate. But then I want this to be a little bit longer. Scale it down. And then I do, in order to not have the pieces get bigger and smaller on the top again, I just drag it out there. And I can make this door lock or something. I don't know what those are called. Door knob plate. Door front view. Zoom in. Make sure that it's centered. Change its material to brass. And then select it, make sure it's actually in the door like we want it. I think it should be fine. Yep, see, there's too far. There's just fine. I mean, also, if you need it to go deeper, we can scale this up a little bit. But of course, then it makes this a little deeper. I actually preferred it like this, where it's thinner, just a little bit of raised stuff. But then in order to do that, we need to take the back edge back. So I can't see to get all the vertices, so I'm going to ring click edges. So select edges, and if you double click on it, it selects the entire outer edge of that ring. Pro tip. And then I'm just going to move it back a little bit. And you can see here what I have selected are the edges of this object here. Edge, if I can select one, or I can double click and it selects all of them. It's helpful if you have the actual object selected. Edge, ring select. There's none selected. There's all of them selected. Anyways, all right. Object, back. Great. Okay, doorknob. So then now we're going to join the door. So I want the door to move as a single object. So I'm going to select all three parts of the door. They all have materials and textures already put on, or materials and UV mapping already put on them. Back to poly modeling and select combine. There you can see door is made, edit. I need to get rid of all that red stuff. These things are harkening back to the actual door, but we don't need them anymore. And I want to center the pivot and freeze the transforms on the door. Look over here, and we're all good. Okay, so now we have our windows and we have our door. And then all I need to do is copy that Let's see if I can even them up a little bit. I should have done something here. I guess I did. I have 3 sections. So within each of these 3 sections, two of these bricks equals 1 section, 2 bricks equal 1 section. If we make the door, or we center the second window on the split, then we know that we have each of these sections are exactly the same. Nice. 3 hotel doors. All right. Give my hotel some color. Remember, change the name. Ooh, great. All righty. So the next thing I think our hotel might need is a sidewalk. So once again, I'm going to copy the hotel object, the main hotel object, and I'm going to squish it down. So it's teeny tiny. And I'll move it down here. And then I'm going to select sub-objects, vertexes in this case, there. And I'm going to bring out a sidewalk. And so what we've done there is now our sidewalk is exactly the same size as the outside of our building. So we don't have to worry about matching it or anything. It can stay its own object, but it's the same size exactly as the building. So we can use that again. And I'm going to bring out, oh, I've messed it up. I missed a vertex. You get over there. Okay. Move this out a little bit. Shoot. Bring this over near the end. Place it about as high as the doorknobs. Maybe a little lower. And we're going to make a railing for the hotel. Now I could take this object and extrude things down. But what I'm going to do is just hit Control D again. I'm going to scale it up so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to bring it in and make it. And you notice I haven't moved it offline. So, and I've only scaled it in this direction and this direction. I did move it off. But oh, sorry, if you do this right, unlike me, there we go. Then your thing is all lined up. I accidentally moved mine off the line, but then I use this line and this line. Like, see, I brought this up through, and I can see that this line is attached to that line, so I know that it's centered on that object. So now I just need to bring this one down so it hits the floor. So there's our floor. And now if I go to a front view, I can scale this in so it's skinny. We're going to make the rungs for it. And then I want to take vertexes. And move them up. Okay, so now we have one rung. Oh, and we can actually scale it in this way a little bit. Okay, so we have a banister and one rung of the railing. I'll move this here so it hits the banister like that. I can move the banister over so it's kind of centered in it a little bit. If I'm unsure as to where it's hitting, I can just move it down a little bit. Or okay. All right. So now we do the task of moving the duplicating the banisters. Let's take a look at it first, and we've got all sorts of stuff. So we need to go edit, delete by type history, modify, freeze transformations. Select both these objects, give them a material. Call it fence. And we can make it green, I guess. Great. And so then all we do is copy this over. And I put it right exactly next to the last one. Just real close. Then copy it again and put it real close. And then I can move this one over. Copy it again and put this real close. And then move it over. Copy it again. Put this one there. Great, so now I have 4 of these. Well, 5, but we're going to use that one as a spacer. And I can now copy it over. And I'm just going to eyeball that one, but you can measure it and then delete if you want. So each time I copy and move, I then can grab, oops. I can then grab more of them and keep copy them and moving them. Are there 2 right there? No. Why is that one different color? All right, so I need to copy them. Oh, this one's going to bother me. I have one that's not, that one I didn't do right. This one. I'll move that over just a tiny bit. Maybe you won't notice. That's pretty good. Okay. So now I have all my fence posts. So I'm going to select all these And I can combine that into a single object, so it's a little easier to deal with. Polygons. And I name this one fence. So we got our windows, our doors, and our fences, and our sidewalk. We forgot sidewalk material. Rendering that. Great. So now we can take all this, copy it, and move it up to the next story. And then we have our two-story hotel. Only using one object. Everything is ready to be textured. You could export this into a game engine, drag textures onto it, and it'd be great. All right. Stay tuned for the next one.